Are you happy with the new series, Chris?
It doesn't seem to have much to it. It hasn't improved that much since it went off the air. It could have been a lot better. It could have been slightly better written, especially the last story.
I knew he looked familiar.
So today, I want to talk about the greatest woman I ever met.
Meet Ryan, his grandmother Grace, and her husband Graham. Unfortunately, Ryan has a condition known as dyspraxia, which in short means he's not able to coordinate his movements very well, so he can't ride a bike.
Ryan Sinclair, don't you dare!
I think that was a bit of an overreaction. Better go and get it then. How the hell did it get up there? What the hell is that? Mate, you probably shouldn't touch that.
Can you stop calling me mate?
Oh, never mind. So now, because he's encountered alien tech and stupidly touched it, his life is changed forever. But he's not the only one. Meet Yasmin Khan, the negotiator. She's a police officer on the beat, but only for parking problems. So when something different comes in, she jumps at the opportunity. Turns out she actually knows Ryan from primary school. So when he tells her to touch it, for some reason she actually does.
See, it's freezing.
Well, that's interesting. What's more interesting is what happens to Grace and Graham's train driver. Everyone is encountering aliens tonight. After a quick phone call, Ryan and Yaz head down to the train, but don't get there in time. Instead, someone else arrives. With no Sonic, empty pockets, and just her brain, the Doctor tries to resolve the situation, only for everyone to be zapped and the ball to just fly off.
Hold on there, please, madam. I need you to do as I say. This could be a potential crime
Why are you
scene.
calling me madam?
Because you're a woman.
Am I? Does it suit me? What? Sorry, half an hour ago I was a white-haired Scotsman.
Well, that's very good. Never had that kind of interaction before. When it comes to post-regeneration amnesia, this Doctor seems to only forget that they're called the Doctor. That's all. And honestly, it's a good change of pace. No more having to keep a childish Doctor safe from the dangers of the universe until they come back to reality. We can actually get into the story. Joining our main cast on the train is another passenger, Carl, who instead of wanting to stick around and find out more, just wants to go to work. Don't blame him, to be honest. But this does tell us he's not going to be a series regular. So after thanking the Doctor for saving him, he just leaves.
We don't get aliens in Sheffield.
Yeah, right, mate.
But has anyone noticed anything else out of the ordinary tonight?
Could we have the lights and siren on?
No!
I love this new Doctor. Retaining the funny side of 12 is the thing I wished would happen, but it doesn't mean she's not keeping on track. Arriving at the spot of that alien pod, it's not there anymore. That's because it's been nicked by this van, driven by Rishi Sunak?
Sir, we need to make some serious cuts to the coronation budget. According to these figures, you've spent £10 million on your hair and makeup alone.
No, he's not actually Rishi. He's called Rahul, and he's absolutely obsessed with aliens because of his sister's disappearance. We'll find out about that later. Yaz heads back to the station, where she's not taken seriously, while Graham heads to his old bus station trying to get the driver Goss.
Strange creatures out tonight.
My wife's out with her mates at karaoke, if that's what you mean.
Well, that was a bust. Grace and Ryan end up taking the Doctor home, where they realise she isn't quite lying when she says she's an alien. Waking up, she realises they've all been implanted with DNA bombs.
Microimplants which code to your DNA. On detonation, they disrupt the foundation of your genetic code, melting your DNA. Fast and nasty and outlawed in every civilized galaxy.
Thanks for the explanation, but who put on the bombs? Or, well, who ordered the creature to put on the bombs? It was this guy in the pod. The main villain for the episode, and also the series, technically. His name is Tazim Shah, a member of the Stenza race, meaning he's capable of this.
You will never know.
Yeah, a pretty serious threat, but also one that has a fascination with taking teeth from his victims. Using Ryan's phone to track the origin of the DNA bombs.
I reformatted your phone.
No, all my stuff's on there.
Not anymore.
That is incredibly painful to hear. They arrive at Rishi's warehouse.
Bingo. Oi! Oh, I was expecting a tentacly thing. Don't you move!
What made you think he'd listen? And now he's gotten away. At least it means the warehouse is free to investigate. The Doctor concludes that Shah burned his face off with extreme cold. Then Ryan reveals that it may or may not be his fault.
Why here? Why tonight?
Actually, that might have been me. When I went to get my bag, there was this line in the air, and then it moved, and there were shapes. And I touched one. You'd all would have done the same.
I wouldn't.
I would have.
That's very good of the Doctor, not lambasting Ryan for being curious, instead ignoring it and making him feel better. We've got a very different Doctor now he's a she. It turns out the Stenza realised how the Doctor was tracking him, so has blocked the signal.
Because what I really need is my... I could build one.
Well, this is good. We're actually going to see a Sonic being built. But before that, the Doctor explains who they are and delivers an iconic line.
When people need help, I never refuse.
Now that is the Doctor. Oh my god, that looks absolutely horrid. At least it's 100% Sheffield steel. In the meantime, Yaz and Ryan have a look around, discovering Sunak's letter of last resort. All this guy wanted was answers, and it cost him his life. He knew that may happen, but it was worth the risk. The Doctor concludes with their
Sonic Swiss Army knife, only without the knife. Only idiots carry knives.
That Shah is from 5,000 galaxies away, so potentially this is a battleground between him and the electric-type Tangela. She couldn't be more wrong. Finding the Tangela, the Doctor quickly defeats it. Well, that wasn't hard. It turns out this is a gathering coil, or dozens wrapped together to find a trophy for Shah, who is coincidentally right here, heading straight to his pet after killing this guy.
Eat my salad.
I mean, what did he think would happen? Best case scenario, he'd be stabbed. It was around this point on first broadcast I realised something. We haven't heard the new title sequence yet, because this episode just doesn't have one, sharing the title with Sleep No More from Series 9. I'll save it for tomorrow's episode. Nice treat. Continuing with the story, this guy has been wearing a mask the whole time. So, what does he really look like?
A Stenza warrior wears his conquests.
Oh, that explains the teeth then.
You may tell your children you were once privileged to encounter Tim Shah of the Stenza.
Tim Shaw?
Tim Shaw! I still have no idea who that is. So Tim Shaw is going to use this trophy, being Carl from earlier, to gain leadership back home. The problem is, he's cheated. He's not meant to have used the gathering coil to find Carl, and now he knows exactly where he is.
No! Short-range teleport! Double cheat!
And he can teleport! God, this guy's incredible. So, what's Carl doing?
I am special.
I am valued.
I am valued.
Somebody out there wants me.
Somebody out there wants me.
Oh, you have no idea, mate. Luckily for Carl, the farmers arrived to save him, quickly climbing up the crane. But they're not the only ones.
Turn around, please! Go on!
With no real options, Carl heads across the crane, rightfully scared for his life. I mean, you would be if that thing was chasing you down. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention. They climbed up a completely different crane, so they have to move their crane so Carl can jump across. Easy, right? Well, the Tangler's back, and it really wants to take down the Doctor.
How am I supposed to get across there now?
When I said step, obviously, I meant jump.
Well, that's an issue. And so is that. Come on, mate. No.
Time like the present.
I wanted to say that!
What the hell are they going to do now? Wait, Jodie, think about this. That's a pretty big gap.
Oh my god.
Well done.
These legs definitely used to be longer.
And here comes our final confrontation. What is the Doctor's great plan?
Let him go. Or I destroy this.
Take your time.
Oh, really need a new coat. This. The recall from the pod you travelled in. I took it out. Without this, you can't get home.
Oh, good plan. Now we're at an impasse. So how are we going to get through this?
Who are you?
Bit of adrenaline, dash of outrage, and a hint of panic knitted my brain back together. I'm the Doctor. Sorting out fair play throughout the universe. Now please, get off this planet while you still have a choice.
And there we have it. Very Matt Smith-like. But speeches don't exactly stop Tim Shaw from just detonating the bombs. So he does.
Sorry.
The Doctor removed the bombs and put them into Tangela, so when he transferred the data, he also transferred the bombs. And so he's defeated in the end by Carl, who pushed him off the edge.
You had no right to do that.
Oh, he was probably going to die anyway from the bombs you intentionally gave him. He had every right to do that. What if in his last second he just killed Carl? Anyway, even though Shaw is now defeated, Tangela isn't, so Grace takes it upon herself to kill it once more. And she does, but at the cost of her life. I remember when first watching this, it was genuinely shocking. Her death is heroic, yes, but it's out of nowhere. This could have been Companion sacrificed herself to save others. Inspired by Grace's death, Ryan continues trying with the bike, but doesn't get it. At Grace's funeral we get a lovely speech from Graham, including some hints about his cancer a few years previously, and it really is lovely.
I can only tell you about the Grace I met when I thought I didn't have much time left. The Grace that showed me life had more to offer. And I know that if she was here now, she'd tell us not to be so sad.
Graham actually has survivor's guilt. He could have been the one to sacrifice himself. He could have saved Grace, instead of the opposite. It's heartbreaking, but it's not something that gets explored further. After the funeral, Yaz asks a valid question.
Have you got family?
No. Lost them a long time ago.
So does this mean that Susan is dead? Did she die in the Time War? Big Finish haven't quite gotten there yet. She also says something else quite valid.
You really need to get out of those clothes.
I wonder what we'll get.
That's what you're going with?
Yep.
Clothes from a charity shop. It's just so perfect, and honestly a wonderful outfit. The coat is gorgeous. Tracking the Artron energy of the TARDIS, the Doctor is able to use the Stenza teleport to get there, with help from her friends, of course.
Look at you three. I'm almost gonna miss you.
What do you mean by almost?
Wish me luck.
Just a feeling I don't think that was meant to happen. How the hell are they going to get out of this one? We're not done yet either, because instead of a next time trailer, we have a list of people I'd never heard of, bar a few. Hold on, is that Roy Kent? And Lee Mack too, wow. Doc Brown. Alan Cumming. Good lord, this is a good cast list. Shame the series sucked. And the main problem is, that's down to not only the writing, but the companions. Since Terminus, we've had the most crowded TARDIS. 4 members, so a similar problem then has reared its head now. At least one per episode will have nothing to say. Back then, each story was split into multiple parts, so the writers could just knock one of them unconscious. You can't really do that now. Since everything is just a singular episode, 45 to 50 minutes long, you can't just knock them out for that length of time. And the person that this mainly happens to is Ryan, leaving him with the role of exposition. He asks the questions, points out things that happen, and that's it. His dyspraxia barely ever comes up, so just doesn't count as a character trait. Ryan is just not a character. He's a shell of exposition. But there's also the element of Tossin Cole's inability to act. Almost every line he says is delivered with no emotion whatsoever. He is incredibly boring to watch. Graham, on the other hand, is the complete opposite. Bradley Walsh isn't exactly new to Doctor Who, and his acting isn't new either, so he's able to combine those skills with his natural comedic ability to create a character that is hilarious to watch. Graham is a standout companion and by far the best of the three. And finally Yaz, who feels like the middle of the two. Mantip Gill can act, so she has that going for her, but the writing is still terrible. They can't seem to juggle her and Ryan being in the same episode. At least she gets development, because unlike the other two, she stays until the end. But honestly, overall, this is a wonderful episode, and the most watched Doctor debut ever, though this might have been beaten by the Star Beast if it's come out yet. I thoroughly enjoyed watching this. There's nothing really wrong with it. Tim Shaw is a very good villain who is actually threatening, even if he only kills 2 people. The Doctor's post-regeneration isn't the focus for once, and instead we're allowed to just get on with the story. I cannot fault it. In tomorrow's episode, we will look at her final episode, and I really cannot wait. I'll see you then.